Okay, let's give this one more try, because, oh, this fucking Samsung. It has these various controls that operate from, like, you touching the side of it. So it'll just sometimes just suddenly do things, and I'm like, why is the phone doing this? Why is the phone not obeying my commands? But it's also that all my technology is starting to get old and shitty. So, this whole idea of so Mr. Trump, you're saying that America's run by a group of some satanic cult of pedophiles? That's crazy, Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump was following a trend that already existed. He rode a wave. And not only he rode the wave, and eventually he ended up shooting the tube, dude. And then hanging 10 while, like, giving the shaka bra to, like, all the guys who fell into the water, and he's given the shaka, to not shocker, but the shaka, like shaka bra. He's giving the shaka bra to Hillary Clinton. So the wave he was riding is now more empowered than ever, and they know, oh, we were totally right. A lot of these people knew it, and now everybody's learning it. And what's really going to be interesting is the P. Diddley affair and Black America having to deal with the fact that motherfuckers were worshiping this shit. The East Coast, West Coast thing. I want to make sure I go on record right now. I didn't like Death Row Records. I never liked most of the shit they put out. I don't own anything at all from Biggie Smalls, from any of that stuff. I liked Nas and I liked Wu-Tang. And when it came to the West Coast, there are very specific groups that I like the Coup and some other ones. But I was never into this perfunctory East Coast, West Coast drama. And the fact that it got into the press, into normie press, such that, like, people were talking about it on the news. Oh, the East Coast, West Coast, and that people brought it up like there were people who really thought this. Now, what it was is that, of course, it's that at that time it was. Now, Cat Williams has kind of given us the idea. These were people being pulled into the world of famous freaks, and that's what, yeah, and now that's becoming more and more and more and more apparent. Now it's becoming like, oh, Usher was 13 years old when he was hanging out with P. Diddy, another person who I can't name you a song. I cannot name you an Usher song. I didn't like, I've never liked that type of R&B. I think after I bought like a Troop single once of Spread My Wings, I was pretty much done with it. I never was into the modern R&B sound because I was so into the old school hip hop sampling sound that I ended up going where a lot of people who were like that went. We got into things like house music, turntablism. We were much more likely to probably listen to something like Tricky, Massive Attack, and Bjork during the time of the dominance of whatever, what was that they called it? Bad Boy Records, that's it. So now everybody's like, oh my gosh, there was a big like circle of diddlers in that industry. And the right wing gets to say, told you. Right again, like, look at us, right again. And so now this is inescapable. The idea that the right keeps nailing it. The migrants were real. The fentanyl, the fact that fentanyl was taking over was real. And that China was sending it in, and that Big Pharma was also a part of making sure that various opiates and things like fentanyl were being produced and coming into the United States. That Mexico is in on it, that they make tremendous amounts of money making sure that contraband and humans get into our country. That there's a huge network of nonprofit corporations that seem to be filled with Marxists, and all they do is work with the Democratic Party and some people in the Republican Party to just cause chaos. We've been completely proven out. Everything we said has been proven out. So now one of the things is that really we are that guy. We're the hero guy with the thick chin, and that we're saying to all the hoes of America, and some of you niggas are bitches too, as the Ghetto Boys said, you don't have to like what we say. You just have to know that we don't give a shit about lying to you. See, we don't give a shit about lying to you because we know we're right. We know we like Agnostic Front said, believe we are right. Believe we are strong. Believe in yourself. Believe hardcore. And so, and that's what we do. And at a certain point, you just get a feeling about the way some story sounds, and you're like, let me follow. I believe in myself. Let me see where this takes us. And so to evidence this, we found you guys fucking with video games. We found you. You're done. You're so done. We found you, and you know you're done. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be hiding your Twitter accounts now. We keep being correct. And who's not correct? Oh no, it's not just not being correct. The left says things that are absolutely the nadir of the truth. Now that's the issue. And because we know that that's the heuristic, that's what we get to operate on. Is, oh, that's funny. The left picked up on this immediately and started attacking it. We're on to something. We got them, boys. And because we're just better at this. There's something about the limited mind of the person who's a left of center. They would much rather, and really, there's a lot of people I met who are left of center that I really think about it, and when they talk about what they're interested in, I'm like, you are people that we need to have around because you actually will do pretty cool stuff, but you need us to protect you because you guys don't believe in evil. You don't think evil is real. You don't think there is really a force of evil. And yes, if anybody's been noticing, I have been starting to watch some of these more interesting videos about when the CIA started experimenting, trying to see, is there anything to the unseen world, only to find that it does in fact appear there might be something to the unseen world. And that I like how the CIA, when writing about it, wrote about it in terms like if any of you, the book that was the Chinese Christian steles and their reference to the other side, Jewish religious practices, that book, that reference, the other side. They actually refer to something called the other side. And the idea is that there's things that, and then when I actually, if I remember correctly, it was the rabbi that I took a Kabbalah class from, that he actually was getting into it. He goes, no, there's totally other spirits, but we're not even Kabbalists, it actually says this, you must view the other side in circumspect. That don't fuck around with whatever you detect is on the other side. Whatever shows itself, appears, reveals itself from the other side. Yeah, and so this idea that there's these things that are not exactly corporeal, but they're from the other side. Oh, Ducky's he's mate guarding. He's like, come here, girl. Oh, this is so cute. Let's see if I can get her. Look at there. He's like, girl, what you up to? I'm just chilling. While we go, we need to go. You know what I'm saying? We got places to be. It's cold out here. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. What do you feel like doing, baby? What do you want to eat today? It's like, look at this. This is so cute. That is so cute. Look at him just swaggering. He's swaggering. He's got his lady with him. That is so adorable. I love ducks, dude. I love little duckies. They're so great. And so, that makes me, look at the joy. Feeling the joy now. But, so, Trump was riding a wave, and a big part of it is because he started to see how the Democrats were doing what they do about every 40 to 60 years. They decide that they want to put even more kind of clamp down and control and structure society the way they feel like, because it's just far more likely that they'll be dealing with big city intellectuals is one of the big things about it. That's more their constituency, sort of their expert group that they get their data from and their ideas from, university professors and banking kind of people and stuff like that. So, and with the Republican Party, it's more often rural people that they're getting their ideas from, and long-standing traditions of American governance, and especially the idea of local power. Woo! Oh man, this phone isn't doing so good anymore. And but the traditions of local power, and which comes from subsidiarity, and that's our whole system is based on that, and common law, that it comes from the bottom upward. That's how power, law, and custom are that's the way that they work. They come from the bottom up. And so even if big ideas start up high and filter downward, at some point there's a check, and that check is the normal people of mostly the more sparsely populated areas that are the farmers, because the founding fathers did know, and they knew this because they had history on their side on this. You have to heed the farmers. The farmers know. The farmers have very little reason to lie to you. They have very little reason to lie to the magistrate, because most of what they're doing is dealing with the issues around farming. And so we slowly found that those states, when they also have industry, it's the same thing. The bottom part of industry, like the union movement, these were people saying, no, you can't operate this way. You'll cause accidents, people will get hurt, this, that, and the other. So there's this period of time with workers' rights and kind of putting checks on corporations that really confused a lot of stuff in America. And now that it's sort of sorted itself out a bit, what now is happening is that you really see this absolute system that the Democrats want, that the country will be run by females at universities, and they'll be able to make all sorts of judgments about your whatever toxicity. That's one of those terms. Like now there's a toxicity, these people are trying to put together a toxicity scale or rating. And this is like a term that's like, it's like a Twitter term. It's like a Tumblrism. Oh, you're toxic. And it's just, it doesn't even make sense. It actually doesn't make sense if you were to look at if you were to look at the word toxic. But that's the typical thing with hoe brain and hoe science and that kind of realm of bullshit that we always have to deal with now. Being fat is healthy. Fat women are pretty. Old women are still beautiful. And so, because of the world of fanciful thinking that the left has caused so many people to be in, now the right is really kind of protecting or in the right trying to protect them from the world of fanciful thinking. So that they end up getting such crazy ideas in their mind that they think that there's something called non-binary people. So these are people who insist, and mostly women, and when you see this, when you actually see who are these people who are non-binaries, you're looking at an autistic girl. A lot of the times you're looking at an autistic girl. An overweight, unattractive autistic girl. She's got that weird pug nose, fat lips, big tits, but the rest of it doesn't necessarily set itself up to be attractive. It's like those three things, you'll see, but the rest of it is probably all fucked up, in some fucked up proportionality, so they have kind of this systematizing mind. So in some ways there's things that they like that males like because of the systematizing nature of the male mind when it comes to maturity. The problem is they're still females. So they'll like, so it doesn't really work, and it's not real. There's also no scale for binariness. This is a thing that somebody just has to feel things. So when it comes to that, everyone's supposed to dance to their tune when people believe something that is demonstrably preposterous. The right is like, no, let me look into this more. And what do? We find, there's a network of nonprofit corporations trying to fuck up video games. And that they really believe in that. They believe in fucking up the video game. To the point that now we're starting to find people popping up that have had experience with them. And they're like, no, they totally set the studio on fire. All of the best people in development leave studios once the studios start hiring these sensitivity readers and start hiring these shit consultants. So now, one of the things I was thinking about was the clandestine nature of these organizations. They didn't want to be discovered on Twitter. They didn't want to be discovered online. They wanted to cover up what they were doing. And that would immediately make one wonder, well, what are you really up to? Like where the Federalist Society, everybody knows what they think. Heritage Foundation with Project 2025. Open. It's an open book. You could buy the book. This is actually one of these things I've considered. Maybe I should buy this book so I really, really, really understand that organization better. And I'm very seriously thinking about that, actually. Wait a second, what's that about? I'm sorry, I'm seeing a dog. I think I'm seeing a dog. Yeah, that's definitely a dog. But I'm not seeing its owner. And it seems to know what it's doing. Like it's just running around marking its territory. Yeah, I'm thinking this is somebody's dog that has gotten out or something. Well, I don't know where he just went. See, a lot of times this will happen. You'll be like, oh, this dog got out, and it turns out like it does it all the time, and it just goes back home. Like it'll literally just walk away from you and go home, and you're like, oh, okay, that's weird. Yeah, this dog is just, it's like a corgi or something. Yeah, it's just there. I don't know what it's doing. I'm thinking maybe it belongs to that person, but I'm not really sure. Well, okay, I hope it's all right. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with the dog. Yeah, you just wandering along. Whose dog are you? That's weird. It's kind of looking at me like it's like my curiosity. Are you okay? I don't know if I should walk over to it. Oh, whoa, wait, whoa. Is that your dog? Oh, no. Okay, he's barking. Doesn't like my curiosity. And sure enough, like dogs that get out of a house, it looks like it's kind of going toward where it lives. Okay. Well, all right. Mystery, or maybe problem solved. Dog doesn't like me, so that's all that matters. It's not my dog. It doesn't really matter. So, the clandestine nature of these nonprofit corporations trying to influence these studios, why would they want to hide their great work? And that's what everybody keeps arguing. Like, well, why are you hiding what you're doing? If what you're doing you're so proud of, if what you're doing is so important, if what you're doing is such a great thing, then why are you upset that people are paying attention to you? So they've done the typical thing of saying, oh, well, we had to hide our activity because of all the death threats from all the extremists. And ever since this claim has started by leftists, feminists, especially the feminists, they can never prove it. They've never been able to bring receipts of somebody who's threatening them, or that they contacted the police about threats. It's never happened. For on a decade, which I really I feel kind of bad for older feminists, that the young feminists are lunatics who make things up. And I mean, older feminists, there was a degree to which older feminists actually had a point about a variety of different laws and customs in different parts of the United States. Say, like, there were actually the customs of questioning banking decisions by women who no longer, especially like widows, and the idea of like that you would have these characters fleecing widows, and that so the feminists of another generation were perfectly correct in, no, there's this custom of this. And we even see a Foghorn Leghorn, these characters that would fleece widows. Well, now you have these psychopaths making up that there's these armies of extremists that are threatening them online, and they never ever show that anyone has threatened them ever. Even though the internet never goes away. This is very easily done, to prove this. Actually, it's extremely easy to do. That's why you don't threaten people on the internet. And so more and more, this is becoming the right-winger people that they tell you the truth, you just don't really like it. While the left actually can't do anything but lie. Because there's something that they want as the result that they know most people wouldn't want. And really a lot of black Americans have to start getting this, like, while they're watching this happen to them, they're watching their replacements brought in, that it's like, no, this is the new help, buddy. This is the new help. You know, do you want to know how much really white people are concerned about black people? Like, concerned like, the black people, they have money. No, nobody thinks that. There's nobody who's worried about the brilliance of black women. No, you don't tile roofs. You don't make tacos and tostadas. You don't. They don't associate you with tequila, and they don't associate you with music that they don't know the lyrics of, so they don't have to understand how unpleasant what you're saying is. You know, they're like, I love Latin dance music. Go for it. I love Latin dance music, you know, and I love drinking tequila margaritas and going Latin dancing, you know, and they're replacing you because you won't cut their topiary, and that's it, you know. And now there's this weird thing, like O'Shea Duke Jackson is getting lured into this. No, there's about a decade of video of black males assaulting people in the streets of New York. What's his face? Woody Allen. Woody Allen was one of the guys who got socked up by just some black guy in the streets of New York at completely random. This is a long-standing tradition. And to see O'Shea Duke Jackson and other pro-blacks like, they because of this one guy on Twitter or whatever, and blah blah blah, and it's like, no, this is what's finally happened, is that what the right wing has been telling people, because it's on videotape, and black people like putting on World Star the fact they just beat the shit out of people all the time, and that they're just racist and extremely violent. And now it's out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag. The right told you. The right told you, and you all... Now, it makes sense that people wouldn't want to heed such a message, because, of course, people think there's black people everywhere. I'm very serious about this. Liberals think that the country is something like 30 to 50% black people. Even the idea that black people are 16% of the population is that's not really accurate. Because once you start counting in, unfortunately, and maybe I think that, well, no, the right wing knows it, and the left is going to find out. Mixed people don't really consider themselves very black, because black people don't consider mixed people black until it's convenient, until they need that 16% number. Because and it's because you wouldn't kill your white parent. When the revolution comes, you can't be counted on to commit racist violence against whites. And now you're starting to see sort of this generation of totally demented mixed people going into college and then having these absolutely demented ideas about what would be their own parentage and their own family members. And I could say, no, my grandfather actually probably was more on top of it, but yeah, actually he was. There's a couple of things he said now and then that made me realize, no, Grandpa wasn't, no, but my dad had this, he had a white savior complex. I'm absolutely certain that there's just some things that have come up. I'm like, yeah, I think he had a savior complex. And yeah. And so now, what are the average voters going to do? Now that a big part of this is that the right has also had to do the same thing. There are the center of the centrists who are conservative, they just live a conservative lifestyle, they've now had to admit, you people on the right, you Alex Jones fans, you patriot people with your hard Christianity that's not just deist therapy. Men aren't going to the Protestant churches anymore or the Catholic churches anymore because it's just deism plus a little bit of talk therapy. And then a whole lot of a guy going, and you gentlemen, listen to those hoes. And so it's, what did your woman tell you? Oh, yes, because God gave them lots more wisdom. And, because a lot of guys who get into that, I think are just pussy thirsties. And so, yeah. And there's another where the new men's movement, though made up of men who are not necessarily right of center, they reject pussy thirstiness. And because they reject pussy thirstiness, they end up on the right. Because at some point they're like, well, no, this is just a natural drive by the body and you'll do anything to get the pussy, so you'll agree to anything, and that's all it is. Well, nobody on the left wants to hear, men on the left don't want to hear that about themselves, that you almost have no will of your own, and that your woman is basically, you're half, your woman has her hand up your asshole and is just, making you talk. They don't like that. That's a hard truth to accept. It's like, no, your woman wears the pants in the family. Come on, we know it. It's like you're on the left, and so there we go. It's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to be true. It's supposed to be honest and have candor. And that's just not a left-wing liberal quality anymore, is having candor and being truthful, which would be a critical part of being liberal. The old tradition of being liberal, where you would challenge the church because you would say, well, Father, is that true? And how dare you ask such a question? Yeah, are you married, young man? So, all right, later.